I just read a survey that should have both job seekers and hiring managers paying close attention. A quarter of hiring managers say they're cautious about hiring in 2026. Unemployment sitting at 6.5%. And here's the real problem: 29% of companies have positions they literally cannot fill. But it's not because of money, it's because of a massive skills gap. So if you're looking for work or if you're trying to hire, this video is going to give you the reality check you need to navigate 2026. Let's dive in. For those that don't know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach and exit planner that works out of West Michigan and around the country. And I come here on YouTube sharing information I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription today. So let's get into it here. Now, this data comes from Express Employment Professionals. This is from Canada, so our neighbors to the north here. However, when we have stuff in the north, it also tends to kind of filter down and very mirror here in the south, here in America. They sent a survey out to these Canadian hiring managers about their expectations for the first half of 2026. So here's what the numbers tell us. Only 44% of companies plan to increase headcount. Now, I pulled up this because I want to be able to show this to you guys. You can see this thing right here. This is the way it's looked over the last couple of years. We've been about 50-50 when it comes for hiring. Right? About half of companies were looking to hire, just a little bit below in 2024. 2025, it bumped up over as 51%. And then the bottom dropped out down here at the end of 2025 to 43%. And we're still at 44%. Statistically speaking, 10%-ish less companies are looking to hire than what was there before. Here's where it really gets interesting though. 29% of companies have open positions they can't fill. Again, it's not because they're being picky and not because they won't pay. Folks are willing to pay, and I can speak about that with my clients, but because the applicants they're getting don't have the skills. 49%, half of them say applicants lack relevant experience. Another half say they lack the hard skills, and others just say they lack the soft skills. And that's kind of one of the challenging things that we're up against here. Now, for job seekers, if you are looking for work right now, here's a harsh truth. It's not enough to just be qualified anymore. You need to be obviously qualified. And what do I mean by that? So one of the things that we need to be aware of, again, is closing that skills gap. When nearly half of hiring managers say applicants lack relevant experience and hard skills, that tells you something critical. Generic resumes and basic qualifications aren't cutting it. Here's what you need to do. First, you need to get very specific about what employers actually want. Don't just apply to jobs that sound interesting. Look for 10 to 15 job postings in your target role and identify the skills that show up over and over again. Those are your priority skills to highlight, or if you don't have them, to acquire. If you keep seeing proficiency in Excel and you're only so-so with spreadsheets, that's a gap you need to close in a weekend with YouTube tutorials and a bunch of practice. I've been that guy, trust me. If every job position asks for project management experience and you don't have it, find a way to demonstrate it, even if it's through volunteer work or side projects. Now, second, you need to build a portfolio of proof. This is especially important if you're changing careers or re-entering the workforce. Don't tell hiring managers you can do the job. You got to show them. And you're going to have opportunities to do that. When I've been interviewing job seekers who've been out of the market for a while, or they're switching between, different, careers per se, different industries, when they're able to come with that portfolio, like a list of like, here's the things that I've done, and I've done the work to match this up to show you where I have relevant skill sets are there, it made for a much more compelling case for them to, again, either be hired or move them on to the next interview step. Okay. So it's really, really important. Now, third, soft skills matter more than you think. When 44% of hiring managers say applicants lack soft skills, that's a communication, problem solving, adaptability, time management issue. Now, that stuff's hard to teach. In your cover letter, here's one way that you can demonstrate this. Don't just list your responsibilities. Tell a story. Here's an example. At my last job, I noticed our client response time was slipping. I created a tracking system that reduced our average response time from 48 hours to 6 hours, which led to a 23% increase in client retention. Now, with that, make sure you can speak about it because we are absolutely going to talk about it in the interview. But that's communication, that's initiative, and that's problem solving. That's all in one sentence. And those are the soft skills that these hiring managers are identifying as an issue. And number 4, network like your job depends on it. And it's because it does. With only 44% of companies planning to increase headcount, you're competing for fewer positions. Just the way it works, right? The best jobs aren't posted publicly. They're filled through referrals. Everyone knows this, right? Do I know a guy or a gal that meets this? Yeah. So let me have a conversation and go that route. Again, so you want to get active on LinkedIn. As annoying as LinkedIn is, it's there for a reason. You want to reach out to people in your industry, attend local meetups of chambers of commerce events. It's one of my favorite ways to meet young, motivated individuals who are looking for work. I've run into them at these chamber events, and I have matched up personally dozens of individuals with their soon to be new employer through these events. The biggest thing here is you want to offer value first. You want to share insight, make introductions, be genuinely helpful. One of the goals that I put in front of those individuals that I coach, those one on one individuals, is you want to connect at least 3 people at this meeting. All right. You're going to one of these networking events. So your job is to ask and learn about as much about everyone you talk to so you can hear, hey, I'm looking, I've been struggling with this at work. I have this. And when you hear those, you want to be able to match people up. And I say, my goal is always to match at least 3 pairs of individuals to try to help solve problems. That's where I provide value. Again, I'm a business coach. That's my job. I'm there to help solve problems. No better way than to introducing a potential client to a potential solve. It's great. You do this so when a referral position opens up, you want to be top of mind for someone who can make that referral, but you have to be seen, you have to be present in order for that to happen. Now, fifth, I want you to consider adjacent industries. If your industry is contracting, getting smaller, look at where those skills transfer. Retail experience translates to customer service roles. Restaurant management absolutely translates to operations. Teaching experience translates to corporate training and instructional design. Don't get locked into a narrow definition of what you can do. Hiring managers value transferable skills. You just have to make the connection obvious. If you're on the hiring manager side and you're one of the 29% who can't fill open positions, let's talk strategy, because we can't find qualified people isn't a strategy. That's surrender. Now, first, I want you to audit your job descriptions. That is the first thing that we do whenever I come into work with someone. If you want to learn more about how I help businesses grow faster than they ever thought possible and help business owners sell their companies for multiples they never dreamed of, go ahead and check out summitbusinessguys.com. Link is in the description. Okay. Now, with auditing the job descriptions, are you asking for the skills you actually need, or are you asking for a unicorn? Now, what I mean by that is here's an entry-level position that requires 5 years of experience, 3 software certifications, and a master's degree. That's not entry level. That's mid-career. If you're struggling to fill a role, strip your requirements down to the absolute must-haves. Everything else should be preferred or willing to train. So this is all we need. I think you're going to be amazed at what ends up happening after that. Now, next is going to be invest in training and not just recruiting. If 49% of applicants lack relevant experience, maybe the solution isn't to keep searching for the 1% who have it. Maybe it's to hire people with the right attitude and aptitudes and train them. Yes, training costs money, but you know what else costs money? Not having the people to run your business. So you can look at apprenticeship programs, partner with a local community college. You can build relations with trade schools and even bring the training in-house. The companies that figure out how to develop talent internally are going to dominate the 2026 hiring market. Now, third, get creative with compensation. I know this survey says money isn't the main issue, it's skills, but here's the thing. Compensation isn't just salary. Are you offering remote work flexibility, professional development stipends, clear advancement paths, work-life balance? Because if you're competing for a small pool of qualified candidates, those perks might be what tips someone towards your offer over a competitor's. Now, fourth, you need to improve your candidate experience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, applying for a job sucks. You are in a constant state of submit and wait, submit and wait, submit and wait. You rarely ever hear back from anyone. And when you do, it's either, hey, you're moved forward, or we've decided to move on. And it may be a month or two afterwards. There's no communication. There's no connection. There's no nothing. So are you applying to applicants promptly? Is your interview process respectful of their time? Are you giving feedback to candidates you don't hire? That one still blows my mind that doesn't happen. The best candidates have options. If your process is slow, disorganized, or impersonal, they're going to accept an offer somewhere else. And I can speak to that personally. A decade ago, when I got out of the military, I had multiple headhunters who were working with me and had through me interview processes, et cetera. And I could not believe the stark difference between those individuals who were going through multi-tier, kind of disorganized process to bring me on as far as interviews and in front of the board and all these different folks versus who I ended up hiring with, they had a couple interviews and it was let's go. I went with those folks because I had options, right? Just remember that when you have talent, you have options. So your focus is on bringing them in. So here's the big picture. Here's what both sides need to understand. The 2026 job market is not going to go back to normal, okay? There are issues throughout the entire system. We have a lot of stuff in flux. Businesses aren't investing in growth. Skills gaps are widening. Economic uncertainty is making everyone cautious. But here's the opportunity. The candidates who invest in closing skills gaps, building portfolios, and networking strategically are going to stand out in a sea of generic applications. If you're a hiring manager, the companies that invest in training, improve their candidate experience, and build talent pipelines are going to win the war for talent while their competitors complain about not being able to find anyone. The job market is tough, but it's not impossible. It just requires more intentionality on both sides. If you're navigating the job market, whether you're hiring or looking, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. What's working? What do you really like? What's not? Now let's learn from each other. Now, if you found this helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.